I want to get very practical today. I don't want there to be any confusion or lack of clarity as to the course of action that I take when it comes to praise and worship, that I take when I am moving from distress to confidence. I'm not talking about the genre of praise and worship music or the genre of Christian music. And to be clear, not all Christian music is created equal in terms of qualifying, as far as I'm concerned, as praise and worship. I'm talking about what, and nor am I talking about what with many churches do on Sunday mornings with two fast songs, two slow songs, and that's all you get for the rest of the week. That is a good start. But for me, the challenges of my life require more than that if I'm going to move from distress into confidence, like we learned about last week. I'm talking about engaging mentally, emotionally, physiologically in the act of praising and worshiping God. For me, this means listening to my praise and worship playlist on Spotify, where I have over 8 hours of songs that I have handpicked to help me enter into the presence of the Lord and raise my faith to handle the challenges of the week. I put the app on the randomized setting, so I never know what song is going to come next, but I know it's going to come from the list that I've already hand selected. If you have a Spotify account, I would be happy to share my playlist with you. Just let me know. Now, I'm not playing it all day, going about my daily activities. I mean, sometimes I do. I mean, Psalms 34:1 says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise will continually be on my mouth. But when I just have it going continually in the background, it becomes background noise and it loses its power to engage my active thoughts. I do not think God appreciates our multitasking capabilities as much as we think he does. If I want to connect with my wife, I need to stop what I am doing and give her my attention. At least I do if I want a happy marriage. We have been made in the image and likeness of God for a relationship with God. We have been hardwired, created to engage with God on a very personal level. If I want to connect with God, I need to stop what I am doing and give him my full, undivided attention. Now, that can sometimes be a challenge. Sometimes it takes real effort and self-discipline to engage fully in praise and worship. And I'm a busy guy, and my mind is constantly running with this and that and the other thing and two other things after that. For a couple of years now, I've been in the habit of going somewhere private. For me, that's often the basement or my car. I will set a timer on my phone for 20 minutes or whatever, but that removes my need to keep looking at the clock, looking at my watch or looking at the phone to see what time it is because I got things to do. I can turn on the do not disturb function on the phone. That way I'm not getting calls or texts or notifications about stuff when I'm supposed to be paying attention to God. Then I put on some headphones. And yes, I even put on, yeah, this little sleep mask right here. Yeah, I look pretty funny, I'm sure. I wouldn't know. I can't say myself. Uh, but it helps me engage. I am attempting to engage all of my being in the worship. I'm not looking around at things oh, I need to do this. Oh, I remember that. Oh, I can just fix this right now. No, I'm focusing all my attention. I'm not just saying the words, but I'm thinking about what I'm singing. I'm giving God my full undivided attention and just praise him and thank him and declare of his goodness and faithfulness and my love for him. I admit I do not always feel like doing this, but I've made it a habit at least 4 to 5 times a week, in addition to making sure I am at church on time to participate in corporate praise and worship. I don't think David felt like it either when he was greatly distressed and feared for his life. But 1 Samuel 30, verse 6 says, David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. It does not say that my method is exactly what David did. But based on what we know of David and David's own writings in the Psalms, it is not a far stretch to conclude this is how David strengthened himself. Praise focuses our vision, our attention on God. The Bible tells us to meditate on, to remember. His praise shall continually be on my lips. Meditate on what? On the word, of course, on how great our God is, how faithful and true. His promises that bring hope and increasing our believing in him, regardless of our circumstances. Praise is using our mouth to declare. In Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 20 says, a person's stomach shall be satisfied from the fruit of their mouth. Isn't that interesting? You think fruit goes in, but this says the fruit of their mouth, so the fruit coming out. From the produce of their lips, they will be filled. Again, the produce, what your lips are producing, you will be filled. That's an interesting concept. Verse 21 continues, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it shall eat its fruit. So death, if our tongue is speaking death, we can eat that fruit. Life, if our tongue is speaking life, we can eat that fruit. The word life, it means alive, of course, flowing fresh, lively, active, reviving. If you are praising God, you are speaking life. And if you love it and make a part of your life, you will eat the fruit of that life in yourself. Praise is physically and mentally and emotionally engaging. Jesus says in Mark, where to go? Mark 12, verse 30, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind and strength. Praise is giving testimony. Revelations 12:11 says, they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Testimony, that fruit. What fruit are your lips producing? In Acts 16, verses 24 through 25, it is a gloomy situation for Paul and Silas. The mobs of people rose against them. They were arrested and beaten with rods. Then in verse 24, it says, having received such a charge, he put them in the inner prison and fastened their feet in stocks. But at midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the prisoners were listening to them. A couple of takeaways from that. At midnight, this can be the literal time of night, or it can refer to a figurative night or dark season that we are in. During this dark time, Paul and Silas were praising God. They probably didn't feel like it at first. I mean, they're beaten. They've been whipped. They're in jail. I'm guessing it probably stunk with the lack of cleanliness in their society and their yeah, okay. 2, others were listening. None of us are an island. Others are seeing what is going on with us. David's mighty men saw him greatly distressed. They saw him go in to strengthen himself in the Lord, and they saw him come out a confident leader that they could trust to go into battle with again. In Hebrews 13:15, it says, let us constantly and at all times offer up to God a sacrifice of praise, which is the fruit of our lips, that thankfully acknowledge and confess and glorify his name. Constantly, at all times, a sacrifice of praise. A sacrifice means it's going to cost you something. You may not want to do it because it's uncomfortable, but a sacrifice of praise is the fruit of our lips, thankfully acknowledging and confessing and glorifying his name. And they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. There must be something different about us than everyone else that is in the same deep darkness around us, that is receiving the same bad news, that is in deep distress. There is an act of our will to walk in and become that light, like Paul and Silas were. There must be a stand, a confidence, a joy, a hope that others see. The source is our unshakable belief in God and his promises, the magnifying of the Lord so that all can see. Praise and worship are vital to this process. I hope you are taking some time and magnifying the Lord over your life situations. Get a playlist of your favorite worship songs. Use Spotify like me. I'll even give you my playlist. YouTube, Prime Music, iTunes, or good old-fashioned CDs, whatever you are using, it is worth your investment. Have a great day.